All right, Aram, as we know already, there is a conference coming up next, and if I'm not mistaken, it's June 24th to 27th, I think, right?
Absolutely. We have a national leadership conference called Armenian Cause 2.0. It's going to focus in three general areas: social networks, grassroots power, and smart advocacy. We're raising our sights in terms of what we're asking from the U.S. government, and also raising our voices in terms of using the latest technology, social media, other tools to make sure we get our point across as effectively as possible. So it's a great learning opportunity for people who are new to High Tide, the Armenian cause, and also for people who are veterans of our struggle. So a very, very interesting weekend in Washington coming up starting June 24th and going through Monday the 27th.
So as I understood, and if I did right, everyone, the beginners and the seasoned activists are invited to be part of this event. But before that, the question is, why Armenian Cause 2.0? Why that 2.0? Is it a new version?
I think it's a new version in a couple of senses. It's a new version in terms of messaging and in terms of the request we're making of our government. We're making the transition of the evolution from a great focus on the recognition of the genocide to and a truthful recognition of the genocide to a just resolution of the genocide. I think that we're raising our sights in terms of our civic advocacy in the U.S., especially in dealing with Congress. So there's that aspect to it in terms of raising our sights. But there's also the technology side. The world has changed dramatically in the last 5 years since our last national leadership conference, and there are so many new tools available that we are literally dealing with a new version of the Armenian cause, because we're no longer, simply talking about people gathering in places. We're talking about a virtual community that's growing, dramatically, not just in America but around the world. The ANCA Facebook page, which did not exist,
5 years ago.
Not exist 5 years ago, now has nearly 17,000 members. We have about 10,000 followers on Twitter. I know that Horizon Aspadas and so many other media outlets have a very powerful presence these days in the social media world. I think it's really a new world for us and new opportunities. This leverages exactly our strength, which is the presence of a motivated, dedicated, educated grassroots constituency around the country, and this is simply a tool that helps us leverage that power. So it really is extremely well suited to our community, the social media, and we're really taking full advantage of it.
Speaking of the social media, I guess now using that social media gives us an edge, because now using that media, the new technologies that are available now and weren't available 5 years ago or even maybe 3 years ago, using those media gives us an edge through which we can not only speak to the U.S. government, but speak to the entire world, given the fact that the entire world is following these kind of media now.
Absolutely. I'll give an example.
Please.
This past April 24th, we got video from two important locations. One was Istanbul, Constantinople, and the second was Washington, D.C. In Turkey, amid a very powerful environment of denial, a threatening and intimidating environment for so many Turks and Armenians and others, a small group, a very small group, but a proud group of citizens stood up and called for a truthful and just resolution of the Armenian genocide. And that video was very powerful precisely because of where it was shot, which is in the very shadow of a denialist state's center of power. At the same time, in Washington, D.C., at the Turkish embassy, supporters of Ankara's campaign of denial held a celebration with dancing and singing and rejoicing in the suffering of Armenians. And we were able to take those two videos and put them together in a short, 1 or 2 minute clip that willing to stand up against it at a risk to themselves, and sadly how there are those who are still, in the thrall of that hateful campaign to demonize the Armenians. So that video, in a very powerful way, was able to get our point across, I think, in ways that were not possible, a few years ago. And,
I guess
Facebook and Twitter get that video out. The video of showing that celebration, I think, was viewed, maybe 10,000 times or more. I don't have the number in front of me, but certainly got made a lot of impact in Washington as well, where it was shared with the State Department, the White House, and the Congress.
We used to hear the quote that says a picture worth 1,000 words or something like that. Now we have, instead of a picture, we have clips, we have videos, and that would have been my next question, which you already partially answered. But I guess such a video or such a clip would show the entire world how notorious is, or shows it the notoriety of the denial of the genocide itself. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the visual image is so much more powerful than text, and the words, after so many decades, very often people become, numb to the words. Just today, one of the leaders of the Azerbaijani American community called the Armenian genocide a myth, and as hateful as that is, those words don't have the same impact sometimes as video. So very important for us to be present, to collect the video, to share it with our community, to share it with our leaders, to share it with our government. And I think that the social media is well suited to that purpose, and that's why we want to invite our activists, young and old, to Washington, where they can learn skills about video, they can learn skills about social media, they can learn how to organize the community, and also advocate on behalf of our community using technology. And we'll have some very bright people who are, well versed in this field on hand to help teach these points. And we'll cover other issues as well, including the issue, for example, of church properties in Turkey. By what possible rationale can the Turkish government not return title and full ownership of every single piece of church property, not just for Armenians, but for all Christians? What possible justification can they hold? There is none, but we need to make that case, and we need to teach our community to make that case. Manoug, let me also share that for people who come to this conference, it will be very robust in terms of its content. The presentations will be interactive. It's not going to be just one person talking and everyone else listening. It's going to be very interactive with workshops. And on top of it, there's going to be a social component, a networking component where people have a chance to meet each other, but also to visit different sites in the city, including the Woodrow Wilson House, the home of President Woodrow Wilson, including the Armenian Embassy. We'll have an opening reception at the W Hotel with a stunning view of the White House and the National Mall, and we'll wrap up the event on Sunday night with a Potomac cruise past all the monuments. For those people who can stay for Monday, we'll have some government visits and also some Capitol Hill issues.
Okay, Aram, I would love to ask you, if you don't mind, later to go over the details day by day, but that is going to happen right after this. We'll take a break and we'll return in a few minutes. Aram, we've been already speaking and giving some details about the leadership conference and the Armenian Cause 2.0. On the other hand, how would you evaluate the outcomes of such a conference in terms of grassroots action and activities, and of course preparing new activists for the ones who would participate for the first time?
I think we look at the return on investment as taking place over months and years. We have seen people introduced to the ANC come to conferences and then grow and become more and more involved in their local communities, and eventually emerge as leaders in their local communities, even at the regional level as well. So it's really an investment in education, in motivation, and also networking, helping these local Armenians meet others from around the country who are doing the same things that they're doing, perhaps in a different state, perhaps in a little bit of a different situation, but it's very inspiring and encouraging to realize that we're all in this together, and the benefits are really tremendous. Every time we have a national conference, we're incredibly impressed with the turnout and with the results in terms of long-term activism that the folks who take part deliver, and also they in turn inspire others to become involved. So there's really just a great return on investment. That's why we're so committed holding educational programs in Washington.
So you practically sense the outcomes and later on see and experience the real results of such a conference. Then let's be practical a little more, and who can participate? What are the requirements or the prerequisites, and how can one register and so on? Please, we need the details. I guess now a lot of especially young people are listening to us, seeing us, and they are interested.
We're largely open to just about anybody. We'd obviously like folks to be 18 or older, or if they're younger, to be traveling with their parents or a guardian. But as long as somebody's of adult age and shares a core commitment to the values of the Armenian cause, justice for the genocide, freedom for Nagorno-Karabakh, autonomy and economic development for Jabal, a strong Armenia with a great relationship with the United States. As long as somebody understands that these are important values, they're welcome to take part. And they can do that by visiting the ANCA website, www.anca.org/conference. There's all the information you would need there to learn about coming to Washington. The registration fee is $150 for adults, only $75 for students. It includes many times that in terms of sort of the dollar value. In terms of programming, as I mentioned, Manoug, we have an opening reception at the W Hotel, which overlooks the White House. It's probably one of the best views in Washington. We have a visit and tour of the Woodrow Wilson House, which is the historic home of the president who drew the border of Wilsonian Armenia. We have an evening dinner reception at the Armenian Embassy, which is a great honor for those who have not been there before. And finally, we'll take a midnight cruise, or rather a twilight cruise, on the evening, last evening of the program, Sunday. And that's just the social side. In between that will be lectures and speeches and workshops, interactive sessions with some of the best and brightest minds in our community and also in Washington. And in addition to training sessions and really, I think, a very robust experience that's going to be both educational and also inspirational.